What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the site. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be covering a topic that is quite commonly discussed, and that is, can you build muscle within a deficit? So we are eating less than our maintenance calories. Can we build muscle tissue? That is the question that is up for debate today. So I'm going to start off by kind of covering it in its simplest form, so giving you a yes or no answer. And there's kind of two sides to this coin, in the sense that physiologically, yes, you can build muscle. We know that we only need water, protein, a training stimulus, and energy to build muscle. And so we can certainly say that physiologically, yes, you can, because you can achieve all four of those things whilst being in a calorie deficit. But in most cases, is this something that we're probably going to see? So if you're eating less than maintenance and you've trained for, quite a period of time, is this something that you're going to see? Probably not, no. And that is kind of what's up for debate here. So in your case, are you going to be able to build muscle? That's what we'll hopefully have you answer by the end of this video. So when you are a beginner, we of course are presented with this novel stimulus of training. And for the first few months, depends on who you are, but for the first few months, that novel stimulus is going to exceed the calorie deficit in terms of its contribution to hypertrophy, muscular hypertrophy, building new muscle tissue. Now, of course, it is better to be in a calorie surplus if you're looking to build muscle tissue. You're going to build more, you're going to build it quicker, and you're going to build it easier. But the question of, can you build it in a deficit as a beginner? Yeah, you probably can do, because that novel stimulus has a greater impact on training adaptations. So, looking from a beginner's perspective, can we build muscle tissue whilst in a deficit? The answer is probably yes here, and this is one of the two cases where you probably will be able to actually build muscle within a deficit. So we are presented with this novel stimulus when we first go to the gym. For the first few months, the training adaptations are much more significant than that of what they are later in your training career, often referred to as beginner gains. And these beginner gains, or this novel training stimulus, will actually probably, in most cases, exceed that of the calorie deficit in terms of its contribution to muscular hypertrophy. So what does that mean? The gains from the novel stimulus outweigh that of the drawbacks in terms of hypertrophy from eating less than maintenance. So if you imagine it on a scale, of course, if they're both up here, you gain in loads, but the deficit brings it down. But fortunately, this novel stimulus weighs enough to still balance you in terms of building muscle tissue. Whereas as that stimulus drops and your training experience elongates and you are less of a beginner, that kind of drops down and then you struggle to build muscle tissue now. That's one way to think about that. But because the novel stimulus is so strong initially, you can still recomp and you can still see quite significant training adaptations in muscular hypertrophy. The second of the two times where you probably will be able to still see muscle recruitment whilst in a deficit is with the introduction of performance-enhancing drugs. So maybe in the form of a testosterone or any other form of anabolic and androgenic steroid, you take on board this new exogenous hormone, or you move into a super physiological range of testosterone, and all of a sudden we are in a position now where our hormones are in such a different position that all of a sudden it's like being a beginner again, and we can see humongous training adaptations again, and we can probably build muscle whilst in a deficit here. So now that we've established it is possible that we can build muscle within a calorie deficit, should we do it? No, there is not much point at all. It is almost like taking one step left and one step right at the same time. You're going to struggle to actually move anywhere, and it's wasted time in that sense. Instead, what I think you should do is sit down with yourself and really say, what is the most important thing to me right now? What is the short-term goal? And dedicate your time exclusively to that short-term goal. So maybe you look in the mirror and say, do you know what, I'm really not happy with the body composition at the moment. I don't like the way that I look, I don't like my face, I don't like my belly, whatever it may be. And you may say, yeah, I need to pull off some body fat here. Dedicate time to a fat loss phase. Pull down that body fat exclusively as your main focus. Now that doesn't mean disregard muscle tissue and just drop your calories excessively. There are videos I have available on how to do a successful fat loss phase. I have run through many times how I have done a successful fat loss phase with myself or my clients that you can find on the news page. Alternatively, my Instagram is on the screen and you will be able to watch message me there for any support that you need with your fat loss phase. But go into that phase, complete it in its entirety. When you're happy with your physique and you feel as though you're once again confident with the way that you look, then you bump calories, start to focus on building muscle tissue in a calorie surplus, so eating in excess of the maintenance. On the other hand, maybe you look at yourself and think, do you know what? I'm really lean, I'm really skinny, I want to build some muscle tissue. So you would go into a calorie surplus. You would accept that maybe you are going to accumulate a little bit of body fat, but you're also going to accumulate far more muscle tissue in this period, and that is the short-term focus for you if you are that individual in that category. So that's the way that I like to view it. And going back again to that really simple explanation, don't take a step left and right at the same time. Take many steps left, complete that left side of the goal. Take many steps right, complete that side of the goal, whatever it may be, and then do the alternative. As I said at the start of the video, you could most certainly argue that you are going to be able to build muscle tissue in a calorie deficit because you can still get in your energy, you can still get your protein, you can still provide a training stimulus, and you can still get water. But you can do all of those things to a greater extent with more efficiency in a calorie surplus. So if you're that eager to build muscle that you're actually going to argue on this one, I'd question why you don't just go into a calorie surplus and build even more muscle. Because even if you are going to build, 1 pound of muscle tissue throughout a year-long deficit and use that as your fuel for this argument, why would you accept 1 pound of muscle gain when you can accept many more from a surplus? I can't understand. On the other hand, if you're looking to lose body fat, instead of trying to, again, elongate this fat loss phase to prove that you can still have built 1 pound of muscle, complete the fat loss phase in 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks and then spend the rest of the year gaining muscle tissue and build well in excess of 1 pound. That would be my approach there, and in summary, that's what I would kind of say. Stick to what you want to do in the short term, do it in its entirety, and then move on to the next short-term goal, because it is a combination of completions of short-term goals that yield that long-term goal in most cases. Hopefully that clears up my thoughts on building muscle in a calorie deficit. If you guys would like to see it, I'm more than happy to do the alternative video to this. So losing body fat in a surplus, if that's something you guys want to see, let me know. Beyond that, hopefully that's give you some food for thought there, and hopefully that's cleared up any uncertainty you had with regards to can I build muscle tissue in a deficit. My Instagram is on the screen. A very quick video today, but let me know if there's any more of these you want to see. Let me know if there's any elongated or shortened videos that you really want to see, or any specific topics. Drop me a follow, drop the video a like, and we'll see you in the next one.